Hi, today's note will be based on savings and investment from the topic business finance. Now, this is a follow-up note from when we were doing the banking sector. So far, we had completed types of money, the functions of commercial bank, functions of central bank, and money markets. So this will be the final part of our note. So you are basically continuing from your note. So you skip a line from the last part of your note, and your subheading would be savings and investment. Savings and investment. Skip a line. Savings dash. Savings is the difference between income available for spending and actual consumer expenditure. Full stop. Open bracket. Disposable income. Close bracket. Skip a line. Investment. Investment is simply doing without consumption today in order to use the money to create capital to generate future returns. Full stop. It can mean purchase of capital equipment, comma, for example, computers, comma, machinery and building, or it can mean buying shares. Full stop. You start the sentence with a asterisk. Investment is the use of capital to create more money through income producing vehicles to result in capital gains. Full stop. Skip a line. Personal savings. This is the ability of the individual to save. Full stop. Savings may be done at credit unions, comma, commercial banks, or through insurance companies. Full stop. Traditional savings can also be done through the use of partner, meeting turn, SUSU. SUSU is SOU or box hand. First up. These are traditional forms of savings by the ordinary man who may find difficulty accessing loans from banks. Full stop. Skip a line. Budgeting. This means having a plan or systematic approach to spending and saving. First step. It helps to ensure that a person does not spend more than his or her income over a period of time. First step. Establishing priorities and spending prudently are very important. Full stop. Skip a line. Sources of short-term financing. I will repeat that. Sources of short-term financing. Next line, first point. You can use a hyphen or a dot to mark each point as you go from line to line. First point. Personal sources, such as personal savings, credit cards, and redundancy payments. Next line, next point. Trade credits and promissory notes. Trade credits and promissory, PROMISSORY, promissory notes. Next line, next point. Unsecured loan, open bracket, no collateral required, close bracket, and overdrafts. Next line, next point. Secured loans. Next line, next point. Loans from family. Next line, next point. loans from government agencies, full stop. Skip a line. Sources of long-term financing. Next line, first point. Shares. Next line, next point. Secured loans. Next line, next point. Debentures. Next line, next point. Loans from government agencies. So that is the end of the note for business finance. So basically, to supplement this notes, it's very important that you read from your textbook in any reading subject, so to speak, reading and writing subject, as we call subjects like POB. You must try to not get all your information from one source. Now, this note was taken from Principles of Business for C.S.E.C. for Self-Study and Distance Learning, Nelson Tones, Caribbean. It was distributed by Nelson Tone. This note is a very good note and links back to your C.S.E.C examination questions, past paper questions, etc. So it is very good. But there are also other good books. Nelson Tone has a textbook that is very good. I can't quote the exact name right now. There are also other very good books. Most Principles of Business textbooks are very good because it is based on definitions and advantages, disadvantages, etc. And basically that is all you actually need to know to pass your examination, because this is one of the very few examinations that is still based on, even though the structure of the paper may have changed slightly to eliminate choices, etc., it is still based on a fundamental concept of how the questions would come, based on definitions, advantages, disadvantages, etc. So you should make note of how you are studying for your examination and still go back to past papers, and you may be surprised for your examination that you may see at least one or two questions show up back for your examination. It may not necessarily be the identical, but it would resemble the question. So let us take a look at the note, which was a brief note, the explanation for it. First, we have savings. So savings is basically the difference between the amount of money available for spending and the actual expenditure that is made. So it is, when you think about it, it is actually a mathematical thing or an accounting thing, right? Based on the amount of money that a person has, the amount of money or the disposable income that a person has, and the amount of money that they actually spend. Okay, so if I have $10 and my bills come up to $8, then I can save $2, basically savings. It is different from investment, because savings will be basically just what you have, that $2. However, investment is different. If I take that $2 and I say that I'm going to purchase a vehicle, I may not be able to purchase a vehicle with the limited savings, but I can invest in it in somehow or the other in something, so that I would be able to benefit from that vehicle in some way by actually reaching to work earlier, taking my kids to school, right? having enjoying more entertainment, going to the mall, going shopping, getting my groceries, etc. That will be an investment of that $2. So let us look at the definition. So investment is simply doing without consumption today in order to use money to create capital to generate future returns. So in business, I was talking about a personal situation, but as I was talking before in previous notes, as I mentioned before, I should say that most of the notes we can relate it on a personal level in terms of banking, etc. And even when we go back to contracts, insurance, and all these different topics, but we must make a relationship in our minds as well in terms of business. So therefore, investment in terms of business is saying that if it is that your profit for the year is $100,000, we're calling a big figure, right? It's $100,000, but you decide that you would take $40,000 from that profit and you are going to invest it in something in your business. I'm going to buy an equipment. I'm going to create an extension. I'm going to redo my business look, how it looks, right? So that possibly I'm looking at something in the future to generate future returns so that I would be able to make even more money. So next year, possibly I'm thinking I'm going to do without consumption today so that next year, instead of making a profit of $100,000, I might be able to make $125,000, and the following year even more and more. Okay, now in business we call that plowback. Okay, so in some other topic we might be able, or possibly for some students you already came across plowback. Okay, so that is a form of investment for business, taking your profit and bringing it back into your business. So we also have here investment is the use of capital to create more money through income producing vehicles to result in capital gains. So using money to create more by investing it in something sensible. Okay, then we have personal savings. I have seen questions on personal savings. This is the ability of the individual to save. Saving may be done at different credit unions, banks, etc. But we cannot forget simple things like susu. In Trinidad, we have susu. They also mention other things like use of partner, meeting turns, box hand that we are not familiar with. But remember, it's a Caribbean examination. So you would find that you can actually learn some of these things and probably remember it for your exam. Don't be afraid to write susu in your examination. You would be surprised. And then we have budgeting. Budgeting is done on a personal level, but it is done by businesses as well. This means having a plan or systematic approach to spending and saving. It ensures that a person does not spend more than his or her income, because sometimes we have so many wants and desires and we think that our money can do more than it can actually do. So sometimes we need to budget so that we will have a realistic point of view as to how much we can actually spend and how much we can save as well. We have sources of short-term financing that varies from secured loans, loans from family, credit unions, and all of these different things. I would advise students, when you get a long list of anything, that you read up everything, try to learn it of course, but try to memorize at least 3 or 4, because in the exam they never ask you more than three of anything. Source of long-term financing would be shares, debentures, etc. So basically that is it. The note wasn't long, the explanation wasn't long, but again, take my advice, and because the topic itself wasn't long, you should actually try to supplement this note and reading and explanation with notes from your textbook.